My neighbor's betrayal left me in tears. A gripping tale of infidelity unfolds on Reddit. Your support is crucial. Join the Livia community, where stories are more than words and emotions run deep. Subscribe to Livia and don't forget to ring the bell for updates that could change everything. Grace had always reveled in the illusion of being the perfect wife, a role she played with unwavering dedication. But beneath the surface, shadows loomed, threatening to unravel the very fabric of her carefully constructed life. At the age of 32, she found herself teetering on the edge of chaos, skillfully juggling her demanding career as a graphic designer while navigating the whirlwind of motherhood with two spirited children, aged 6 and 8, whose boundless energy threatened to consume her every moment. Her husband, Aaron, was a devoted accountant, tirelessly toiling away in the shadows of the night, driven by an unyielding determination to secure a future for their family, though he was a pillar of care and support. The relentless demands of their lives loomed like dark clouds, casting shadows over any chance for romantic moments to blossom. The once vibrant spark that had ignited their relationship now flickered precariously, threatened by the relentless shadows of daily life encroaching upon their once passionate connection. In the heart of a seemingly tranquil neighborhood, Grace discovered a fragile refuge among her neighbors, especially in the enigmatic figure of Spencer. With his captivating charm and an air of mystery that cloaked him like a shadow, he stirred something deep within her, a sense of longing and intrigue that she could not ignore. It had been a year since he arrived. A seemingly ordinary man with an easygoing demeanor and a laugh that echoed like a siren's call. The neighborhood kids were drawn to him, enchanted by his charm, unaware of the shadows that lurked just beneath the surface of his jovial exterior. In a world shrouded in shadows, Spencer emerged like a beacon, illuminating the depths of Grace's soul. It was a revelation that struck her with the force of a thunderclap. She had been wandering in darkness, unaware of the profound longing for connection that simmered within her. But now, with Spencer's presence, the veil was lifted, and she found herself ensnared in a web of emotions she never knew existed. As the days slipped by, the encounters between Grace and Spencer grew increasingly intense, each moment charged with an unspoken tension that hung in the air like a storm waiting to break. What began as simple exchanges over the fence soon spiraled into lengthy dialogues, each moment charged with an unspoken tension as they toiled side by side in the shadows of their yards, secrets lurking just beneath the surface of their camaraderie. With every unexpected encounter, Grace's heart raced, igniting a fire within her that had long lain dormant, a sensation both exhilarating and terrifying. What began as innocent exchanges, filled with friendly banter and laughter, soon took a turn that no one could have anticipated. Yet, as the weeks slipped away like shadows in the night, the conversations grew more intense, unraveling secrets and igniting a tension that hung thick in the air. In the dim light of their secret haven, they unveiled the tapestry of their lives, weaving together childhood memories that echoed with laughter and whispered secrets. Each revelation was a thread, binding their souls as they dared to dream of a future that shimmered just beyond their grasp, tantalizingly close yet shrouded in uncertainty. With every exchange, a surge of vitality coursed through Grace, igniting a fire within her that she never knew existed. On a fateful afternoon, as the laughter of their children echoed in the distance, Grace and Spencer stood together in the shadowy confines of the backyard, an unspoken tension hanging thick in the air. As the sun dipped below the horizon, a haunting glow enveloped the world, transforming the ordinary into something extraordinary, as if the very air was charged with an unspoken promise of secrets waiting to be unveiled. They laughed, their voices echoing with memories, but as the echoes faded, an unsettling silence enveloped them, thick with unspoken thoughts and lingering tension. Grace sensed an electric tension crackling in the air, a deep yearning that irresistibly drew her closer to him, as if fate itself conspired to intertwine their destinies. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting eerie shadows across the room, Aaron stepped through the door, oblivious to the storm brewing within Grace. The thrill of her encounter with Spencer clung to her like a whisper in the dark, igniting a fire of anticipation that she couldn't extinguish. She struggled to anchor herself in the warmth of her family, yet her mind betrayed her, drifting relentlessly back to him, the haunting specter of her past. The days that followed descended into a whirlwind of torment and longing, each moment heavy with unspoken regrets and desperate desires. With every fleeting encounter, Grace's heart pounded like a drum, each stolen glance at Spencer igniting a fire of anticipation within her. The air crackled with unspoken tension, and as their eyes locked, the world around them faded into a blur, leaving only the electric charge of their connection hanging in the silence. As the clock struck 8 on that fateful Friday evening, darkness enveloped the house. Aaron, burdened by the weight of his late work, remained oblivious to the serene slumber of his children, their dreams untouched by the outside world. Little did he know, the night was far from ordinary. With a heart heavy with yearning, Grace set out into the twilight, her footsteps echoing in the stillness as she approached Spencer's house. The air crackled with unspoken words, and the book she sought felt like a mere excuse, a fragile thread tethering her to him in the growing darkness. With each step toward his front door, her heart thundered in her chest, a wild drumbeat echoing the uncertainty that loomed ahead. Not only from the exhilarating rush of the moment, but also from the chilling dread of her actions, Spencer greeted her with a smile that masked the tension in the air, and as they took their seats on the creaking porch, the night wrapped around them like a shroud. Each story they shared was laced with unspoken secrets, and laughter echoed softly, mingling with the whispers of the darkened sky above. The air crackled with tension, and Grace found herself irresistibly drawn to him, as if an unseen force was weaving their fates together. They delved into a world of shared passions, from their beloved films to the aspirations that ignited their souls. Yet, as their dialogue intensified, an electric tension crackled in the air, thickening with every word exchanged. As the tension in the air thickened, they found themselves drawn together, the distance between them evaporating until the space between them grew faint as their conversation deepened. In that heart-stopping moment, Grace sensed the very fabric of reality unraveling, the world around them dissolving into an eerie silence. In the dim light, it was just the two of them, ensnared in a fragile bubble of their own making, oblivious to the world outside, where shadows lurked and secrets whispered in the dark. As Spencer reached to gently move a strand of hair, the silence between them deepened. A tempest of emotions surged within her. She was caught between fear and something unfamiliar but compelling. The quiet carried more weight than either expected. The moment stirred something in her she thought was long gone, a flicker of passion she believed had long been extinguished, now roaring back to life with an intensity that left her breathless. Grace's heart raced, a surge of exhilaration coursing through her veins as the allure of the forbidden awakened a fierce blaze within her, one she thought had long been extinguished. As their lips met, a storm of turmoil surged within her, each thought battling fiercely against the other, leaving her breathless and on the edge of a precipice. As they pulled away, the weight of reality descended upon them like a dark cloud, suffocating and inescapable. Grace found herself ensnared in a whirlwind of guilt and confusion, yet beneath it all, a thrilling surge of exhilaration coursed through her veins. She was acutely aware that she was teetering on the edge of a perilous line, yet the magnetic pull she felt towards Spencer was utterly intoxicating, drawing her deeper into a web of uncertainty and desire, lost in a swirling fog of thoughts. She lingered in the shadows of uncertainty, but a sudden jolt of resolve pierced through the haze. It was time to return home, though the path ahead felt fraught with unseen dangers. As she retraced her steps, a suffocating heaviness enveloped her heart, each beat echoing the haunting truth of her betrayal against Aaron. The shadows seemed to close in, whispering secrets of her guilt, leaving her to grapple with the consequences of her choices. The days that followed that fateful night plunged Grace into a tempest of swirling emotions, each moment heavy with the weight of uncertainty and dread. She was ensnared in a suffocating web of guilt, yet an undeniable thrill coursed through her veins, ignited by the magnetic presence of Spencer in her life. With every fleeting encounter, their eyes locked in a silent dance of longing, and Grace's heart raced, aching for the thrill of what had once ignited between them. Each heartbeat shared with Erin was overshadowed by the weight of her hidden truth, a shadow lurking just beneath the surface, threatening to unravel everything. She fought to anchor herself in the moment, surrounded by her husband and children. Yet her thoughts spiraled into a tempest of longing, replaying the kiss that ignited a fire within her. The tantalizing vision of being with Spencer again consumed her, a dangerous fantasy that threatened to unravel her very existence. The internal struggle clawed at her soul, a relentless force that forged an unbridgeable chasm between her and Erin, who wandered through life, blissfully ignorant of the tempest raging within her heart. As the weeks slipped through her fingers like sand, Grace felt herself being pulled further into the shadows of her double life, each moment thick with tension and uncertainty. As the shadows deepened, she found herself drawn to Spencer with an intensity that sent shivers down her spine. Each meeting was charged with an electric tension, their bond tightening like a noose, leaving her breathless and yearning for more. In the shadows of twilight, they exchanged stolen moments, quick kisses that ignited flames of desire, whispered secrets that danced on the edge of danger. The moment left her shaken, unsure of what to feel next. With every heartbeat, a surge of adrenaline coursed through her veins, intertwining with the suffocating guilt that lurked just behind her, a relentless specter haunting her every move. Grace found herself teetering on the edge of a precarious tightrope, caught in a whirlwind of familial obligations and the intoxicating thrill of her clandestine romance. In the depths of her heart, a tempest raged, a fierce battle between the tender love she harbored for Erin and the electrifying pull of her undeniable connection with Spencer. Each heartbeat echoed the turmoil within her as shadows of doubt and desire danced in the corners of her mind. The guilt loomed like a dark cloud over her conscience, a relentless torment that threatened to consume her. Yet, the intensity of her feelings left her overwhelmed and unsure. With each tender word Erin uttered, each heartfelt compliment that slipped from his lips, a sharp pang of remorse pierced through Grace's heart, leaving her breathless and ensnared in a web of conflicting emotions. Her heart was a battlefield, torn between the love she held for him and the unexpected, electrifying pull she felt towards Spencer. The tension crackled in the air, leaving her breathless and uncertain of what would come next. As shadows loomed over her heart, she found herself grappling with the very foundations of love, loyalty, and happiness, each thought twisting into a haunting uncertainty that threatened to unravel her world. Grace found herself swept away in a tempest of emotions. A pivotal choice loomed before her, shrouded in uncertainty and fraught with tension. Press on into the shadows of uncertainty or face the chilling truth of her predicament. Unbeknownst to her, the choice looming before her held the power to alter the very fabric of her existence, setting in motion a chain of events that would forever reshape her destiny. As the weeks morphed into months, Grace found herself ensnared in a whirlwind of chaos, each day unraveling the fabric of her once orderly existence. The intoxicating thrill of her clandestine affair with Spencer pulsed through her veins, a dangerous elixir that promised ecstasy but loomed with a heavy price. In the shadows of her own deceit, she lay to Erin, weaving intricate tales that danced on the edge of truth, each word a fragile thread holding her secrets at bay. With every deceit, a heavy burden settled upon her conscience, tightening its grip until the suffocating guilt threatened to consume her whole. As twilight descended, casting long shadows across the porch, Grace found herself ensnared in a web of her own making, the gravity of her decisions pressing heavily upon her chest. Beside her, Spencer remained oblivious, but the air crackled with an unspoken tension, a storm brewing just beneath the surface. As the echoes of their laughter filled the air, they found themselves lost in the haunting memories of their last adventure, a reckless drive to the beach that had turned into a night of secrets and whispers beneath the vast, star-studded sky. Each moment was a fragile thread, weaving them closer together, yet the shadows of the past loomed, hinting at unspoken truths that lingered just beyond the light of their joy. Yet, As the echoes of their laughter dwindled, an unsettling tension enveloped them. A palpable awareness of the dire circumstances looming ahead. "Grace, we can't keep doing this," Spencer said, his voice thick with an unsettling gravity, as if the very air around them crackled with unspoken tension. "The moment has arrived for you to confront the choice that looms before you. What will you choose?" The weight of your decision hangs in the air, thick with anticipation. His words pierced the air like a dagger, sending a chilling wave of panic crashing over Grace, leaving her breathless and trembling in the shadows of uncertainty. In the throes of exhilaration, she had plunged headfirst into the unknown, blissfully unaware of the shadows lurking just beyond her vision, waiting to unveil the dire consequences that loomed ahead. Yet, buried within the shadows of her heart, a chilling truth clawed at her soul. She could no longer sustain the facade that had become her life. The chilling prospect of losing her family loomed over her like a dark cloud, a terror that gripped her heart. Yet, the mere notion of severing her bond with Spencer sent shivers down her spine, a haunting dread that threatened to consume her entirely. As the clock struck midnight, Grace stepped through the door, her heart weighed down by an unbearable burden, shadows lurking in the corners of her mind. As she slipped beneath the covers, the room was cloaked in silence, save for the soft, rhythmic breaths of Aaron, lost in the depths of slumber. The darkness wrapped around her like a shroud, and an unsettling tension hung in the air, as if the night held secrets waiting to be unveiled. As she lay there, her gaze fixed on the ceiling, an overwhelming wave of despair washed over her, suffocating her spirit in its relentless grip. She loved Aaron, yet a tempest raged within her, pulling her in two opposing directions. The haunting image of Spencer clung to her thoughts, a vivid reminder of the fervor and thrill that had long eluded her grasp. As dawn broke, casting eerie shadows across the room, Grace stood at the precipice of a life-altering choice. The weight of the world pressed down on her shoulders, and in that moment, she resolved to take a path that would change everything. With her heart pounding like a drum, she knew the moment had come to face Aaron. The weight of unspoken words hung heavy in the air, and the truth clawed at her throat, begging for release. Would she find the courage to unveil her deepest emotions, or would fear keep her shackled in silence? It was the sole path that lay ahead, a treacherous journey fraught with the haunting shadows of her past deeds, each step forward a confrontation with the agonizing reality she had long sought to escape. Once the children had departed for school, she summoned Aaron to sit before her, her heart racing as she inhaled deeply, bracing herself for what was to come. "Aaron, we must speak," she whispered, her voice quaking with urgency. Aaron's gaze shot upward, a storm of worry brewing in his eyes. "Everything truly all right?" "No, it's not," Grace replied, her voice trembling as tears threatened to spill over, a storm of emotions brewing within her. "The weight of my decisions hangs heavy between us, choices that have cast shadows on our bond. It's time for me to confront the truth, to lay bare the honesty that has eluded us for too long." As she unveiled the truth, her emotions for Spencer spilled forth like a torrent, recounting the stolen kisses and the fleeting moments that had bound them together. With each word, Aaron's face transformed, confusion melting away to reveal the raw agony of heartbreak. The anguish reflected in his eyes was a tempest, a storm brewing on the horizon, and Grace sensed that with each passing moment, she was fracturing the fragile reality they had built together. The air crackled with tension as the conversation unfolded, each word laced with fury, a deep sense of betrayal hanging heavy in the atmosphere, and tears threatened to spill over, marking the gravity of the moment. Aaron stood frozen, a storm of despair raging within him, while Grace's gaze pierced through the shadows, revealing the deep anguish carved into his features. He had always placed his faith in her, but now that faith lay shattered, a haunting echo of betrayal lingering in the air. As their words hung in the air, a chilling realization gripped Grace. She was on the precipice of a monumental mistake, one that could alter the course of everything she held dear. In a moment that would echo through the halls of their once happy home, she didn't merely betray her husband. She unleashed a devastating storm that tore their family apart, leaving nothing but fragments in its wake. Why, oh why, Grace? What secrets lie behind your name, and what shadows dance in the corners of your past? The air thickens with tension as the question hangs, unanswered, like a storm cloud ready to unleash its fury. What could possibly drive one to seek the truth hidden within your very essence? The heart races, and the mind whirls with possibilities, each more tantalizing than the last. Why, Grace? The answer beckons, elusive and haunting. Aaron's voice trembled, a fragile whisper laced with desperation. Was I not enough to hold your heart captive? Grace stood frozen, her mind racing, but the words eluded her grasp like shadows in the night. How could she articulate the profound void that consumed her, the desperate yearning for connection that had propelled her into the embrace of Spencer? The shadows of her solitude loomed large, whispering secrets of a heart aching for solace. The weight of her guilt enveloped her like a dark shroud, and the harsh truth of her choices crashed down upon her with an unforgiving intensity. "I'm so sorry, Aaron," she whispered, her voice trembling as tears cascaded down her cheeks, each drop a testament to the weight of her sorrow. "In the shadows of my heart, I never intended to bring you pain." Aaron's silence hung in the air like a thick fog, suffocating and heavy, leaving an unsettling tension that gripped the room. After what seemed like an endless void of silence, he finally broke the stillness, his voice chilling and remote, sending shivers down the spine. The clock ticks ominously, each second stretching into an eternity. I find myself in a desperate plea. I need time. Time to unravel the tangled threads of my thoughts, to breathe amidst the chaos that surrounds me. The weight of urgency presses down, but I stand at the precipice, yearning for just a moment longer to gather my strength and confront that the weight of your gaze is too much to bear at this moment. Aaron retreated into the shadows of his own mind. A chilling sense of isolation enveloped Grace, leaving her feeling more abandoned than she had ever known. The burden of her choices loomed ominously, a relentless pressure on her heart, as the suffocating grip of guilt threatened to consume her entirely. In the shadow of her grief, she found herself adrift, mourning the man who had been her steadfast anchor through the storms of life. The father of her children, the love she had once held so carelessly, now slipped through her fingers like sand, leaving only echoes of what once was. Each memory clawed at her heart, a haunting reminder of the warmth that had vanished, leaving behind an icy void that threatened to consume her whole. Weeks dragged on like an eternity, each moment steeped in the haunting echoes of their fateful clash. Aaron stood at the edge of an emotional abyss, his gaze averted, while Grace sensed the chasm between them yawning wider, threatening to swallow them both whole. With trembling fingers, she reached out, her heart pounding in her chest as the shadows closed in around her. The days morphed into weeks, an unsettling tension gripped Grace and Aaron, leaving them to grapple with the shadows of uncertainty that loomed ever closer. The air in the house was thick, laden with the weight of unvoiced secrets and emotions that hung like a storm cloud, ready to burst at any moment. Aaron toiled into the shadows of the night, shunning any dialogue that might unearth the wounds he desperately sought to keep buried. Grace found herself ensnared in a web of guilt and regret, each thread tightening around her heart, suffocating her with the weight of her choices. In a heart-stopping twist of fate, she had shattered the trust that bound her not just to her husband, but to the very foundation of the life they had painstakingly constructed together. In a desperate quest for clarity, Grace's trembling fingers dialed the number of her closest confidant, Sophie. The weight of uncertainty hung heavy in the air, for Sophie had always been her unwavering beacon of support in the darkest of times. On a fateful afternoon, as the steam from their coffee swirled like the turmoil within her, Grace's composure shattered. Tears streamed down her face as she unveiled the dark secrets she had kept hidden, the affair that had ensnared her heart, the suffocating guilt that clawed at her soul, and the unbearable pain she had inflicted on those she loved. Sophie leaned in, her heart pounding in her chest, a storm of emotions swirling as she absorbed every word, feeling the weight of her friend's pain pressing down on her soul. "Grace," "You must confront the depths of your desires," Sophie urged, her voice a whisper laced with urgency. "Will you dare to confront the shadows of your marriage and attempt to piece together what once was? Or have you made the fateful decision to step into the unknown and leave it all behind?" Grace stood at the crossroads of her fate, her heart a battleground of conflicting emotions. A part of her ached to return to the life she once shared with Aaron, to mend the fractures that had torn them apart, and to resurrect the love that had flickered like a dying ember in the shadows of their past. Yet, a deeper, more tumultuous part of her soul was irresistibly pulled toward the thrilling whirlwind of excitement and fervor she had discovered with Spencer. In that moment of clarity, she understood that the shadows of her emotions could no longer be ignored. The weight of truth pressed heavily upon her chest, urging her to face the tempest within, not just for her own sake, but for Aaron's as well. The air crackled with tension as she prepared to unveil the secrets that had long been buried in silence. After endless nights of restless pondering, Grace steeled herself for yet another confrontation with Aaron, her heart racing at the thought of what might unfold. With a heart pounding in her chest, she felt an urgent need to convey her longing to mend the fragile threads of their relationship. Every moment weighed heavily on her as she prepared to reveal her unwavering commitment to the arduous journey of restoring the trust that had once bound them together. As the night deepened and silence enveloped the house, she found herself seated beside Aaron, her heart racing wildly, echoing the tension that hung in the air. "Aaron, I realize the pain I've caused you runs deep, and there's no way to undo the damage," she began, her voice quaking with emotion. "Yet, deep within me stirs an unyielding desire to set the scales of fate back in balance. My heart aches with a fierce passion, and I am ready to battle for the love we once shared, to reclaim the bond that feels so fragile yet so vital. I will not let it slip away without a fight." Aaron's face was a mask of mystery, his eyes narrowing as he absorbed every word, the air thick with unspoken tension. With a heavy heart, Grace pressed on, unveiling her deepest regrets. The weight of her past actions loomed over her, a haunting reminder that they had emerged from a profound emptiness, an abyss she could no longer ignore. With a heavy heart, she faced the shadows of her past, acknowledging the weight of her mistakes. A vow hung in the air, a promise of transparency and honesty that would shape her future, as the tension of her resolve crackled like electricity, leaving everyone on the edge of their seats.